Kevin, thanks for being with us. First of all, you used to be a state trooper.
That's correct.
Which my brother-in-law is.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And we're lucky to have you in the church. Tell us a little bit about the Office of Compliance for the Diocese of Providence, because we're talking beforehand, and I was surprised at how expansive it really is.
Right. Well, the office was actually created in 1993. It was then called the Office of Education and Compliance. And in 1993, the Diocese of Providence realized that they had a problem, and they took the then fairly unprecedented step of hiring a trained law enforcement investigator, my predecessor, who was a lieutenant investigator from the Massachusetts State Police. And he was actually tasked not only with investigating all allegations of childhood sexual abuse, but he was also tasked, equally as important, with developing policies, procedures, and protocols to ensure that kids were protected in the future and to make sure that all the various entities in the diocese were in compliance with those protocols.
Now, Kevin, April, as you know, and as we said at the beginning of the show, is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Yes. So what would be some of the challenges that we face in this country regarding protecting children, not just in the church, but in society in general?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because what we've found is that it is a worldwide crisis. And I think probably the most important challenges that we face are education and awareness. Now, you know, before I always like to discuss the fact that we all know that it's irrefutable that child abuse is insidious and that it's hurt so many victims. You know, the suffering is unbearable for them and their families, and not only for the public at large, who certainly have empathy for the victims. And if not for those victims coming forward when they did, we would not have developed the policies and procedures that we have in place right now. And they're the ones, you know, and I think we owe them a debt of gratitude for displaying the courage to come forward. I really do. And that's sometimes lost in the message, but if not for their efforts, we wouldn't have the education programs right now. We wouldn't have the awareness that we have right now worldwide.
So it's their courage.
That's correct.
Their courage in stepping
That's correct.
forward.
Yep, because they've actually prevented, and I guess we can't quantify the number of people that they've prevented from, you know, experiencing the same suffering and pain.
How difficult is it in compliance with, you have your policy, not yours, but the Diocese of Providence policy, the USCCB has a policy, and local law enforcement has a policy. Do you work together so that the compliance is pretty much seamless?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, prior to coming to the Diocese of Providence, as you had mentioned, I was with the state police. And I was an investigator with the state police, a detective, and I was also in a supervisory role. I retired as a detective commander. And over the years, I frequently worked with my predecessor at the Diocese of Providence, whose job I have right now. So we communicated. And it's not very difficult. You know, once the policies, procedures, and protocols are established, you know, it becomes second nature to everyone.
From your perspective, how are we doing as a church, as a diocese, an archdiocese, in being compliant, especially at the parish level? Are we doing well? Can we do better? What do you think?
I think we're doing fantastic.
Yeah,
I do. I really do, because people are dialed in. People have the message, you know, and I always say, as a young military officer, I used to say that the people that work for you or work with you will only take it as serious as you do. And if you make it a priority, then the people that, you know, work with you will make it a priority. And my office frequently gets calls from parishioners, pastors, volunteers, teachers, parents that are seeking clarification on child protection issues, or maybe reporting something that they think was inappropriate. And that happens every day. My staff's very busy. I'm very busy. Fortunately, most of the cases, actually all the cases since I've been here 4 years ago that I investigate are historical in nature. They go back as far as the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And fortunately, I haven't had to investigate anything current.
And as you say, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be compliant as we are without the courage survivors, victims and survivors who have come forward and spoke about what happened to them and had the courage to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're running out of time, Kevin, but what are some of the policies and what are some of the things that we're doing that are effective to prevent child abuse?
Well, certainly at the Diocese of Providence, we have a outreach and prevention office, which is coordinated by my colleague. And he's responsible for the safe environment training, the Circle of Grace program for the kids. We have background checks that we do. In Mass, they're called the Corey. In Rhode Island, they're BCI checks. Okay. All right. And a variety of other things. We really have many systems in place.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for being with us
thank you.
today and clarifying, and keep up the great work. Anytime we have a former state trooper with us, okay with me.
And make sure you tell Bishop Tobin that we send our best.
All right. Well, thank you for having me in Titletown.
Thank